Oh, bonjour. Le Sitdown condition cause me she cast out them. Neo shingaming don't you bang. They at daily dits on it the agan, the snubby queen down. Shaganash most win Liz at Quincy. Minugo Jeb, everyone. And I'm going to be sharing with you around this understanding or people wanting to learn or to understand how we see it culturally around when they talk about storytelling. And in our way of understanding, there's different kinds of stories. We have our stories and we have our teachings. Stories, there are people out there that walk through the world that are good at writing about stories and sharing stories so people can get some meaning from it. Different ages, different understandings about life. In our teachings, it's more deeper than that. And in our teachings, we do have stories, but they're life stories. They're heartfelt stories. They're stories that may help someone else that are walking through the world that may be having a problem or having to understand about creation. And one of the most powerful stories that our relatives talk about is our creation story. So being Nishnabek, we have our creation story. Being Hongwe, we have our creation story. And different original people across Turtle Island have their original stories, what we would call creation stories. And those stories talk about the beginning of creation and how Creator lured us to this earth and how earth was created and our roles and our responsibilities as male and female and our interconnectedness with the spirit of all of creation, from the winged ones to the fin ones to the four-leggeds to the human beings to the stars to the moon to the trees. Everything in creation has a spirit, and there's a story for each and every part of creation. And it would take 7 days to be able to listen to the creation story. But there's different people out there across Turtle Island that have collective knowledge that can sit and to share those stories. And when we share those stories where people are listening and hearing with their heart, their mind, their body, and their spirit, we're not just listening with our minds. Sometimes when people are sharing a story, like in a storytelling setting, you're only listening with your mind. And it's about being totally present so you can feel and honor what is being said and being shared and how that's going to help you in your life path to create a better life. It helps us to better understand those stories about the 7 stages of life. And each and every part of those 7 stages of life, they too have teachings, and it would take usually 7 days to be able to even talk about those 7 stages of life. So everything that we share has great meaning, deep meaning. It doesn't have surface meanings. We don't have anything in our cultural way of being that is surface. Everything is very deep. Everything is interconnected to our heart, to our mind, our body, and our spirit. And that's how we have learned since the beginning of time. And that's how we are trying to rebring that back because of what colonization has done to our stories, to our lives, to our experiences. They have disconnected us, and we're trying to get back to that reconnection of sharing life experiences and sharing it from our heart, our mind, our body, and our spirit. Because those human experiences, those human stories are very helpful to the next generations. And they're also helpful for us to understand the generations before we got here and for what they had experienced. Because that spiritual connection of our stories is what keeps us resilient, what keeps us continue to walk on that pathway of that good life, to pick up our bundles, pick up our medicines, pick up our ceremonies. So all of those different parts of who we are as the original people on Turtle Island, we have many stories, but they're heartfelt stories. They're not just stories to be able to share a story. It's about sharing that will help another human being, that will help the next generation to better understand their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, so that they can put that within inside of their being so they can share those stories with their children, their grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So our cultural way of being will continue to live as it has since the beginning of time. How mi gach yamago.